everything.
Okay, well, I turn it over to Nardia to do her president stuff.
Good morning, Club Awesome. I see that Andy is ready to get going. He's on a ball. Thank you again, Andy. Welcome all. Thanks, Todd, for joining us today. We have missed you, and thank you for reaching out and everything. And before we actually start my part, and just to follow up on what Annie said, and thank you, Annie, for that invocation this morning. I am also going to take 1 minute of silence, as today is the funeral of George Floyd. I will have set my timer, and if we could just take 1 minute of silence. But what I want you to do in that 1 minute of silence is just express some or explore your cultural humility. And what that means is that you're gonna just think about you, your contributions in terms of how implicit bias may come into your role, whether it's work, school, play, any environment, as well as how these biases may turn into microaggression to those you know around you. So just take a minute in silence for George Floyd, his family, his community, as well as use this time for your self-reflection in terms of cultural humility. And I will start my timer now. Okay, thank you all. I'm going to have, David, do you have VPE moment for us today?
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I would like to introduce our VPE of Education, DTM David Carr, who will share with us something that we don't know. DTM David Carr.
This is something that I promised to go over last week, except I had to remind myself how to do it. I was asked how you can change the screen layout so that you see the speaker a little bit more clearly, along with the slides. And this is a screenshot from Monday night's workshop with an expert on webinars at Online Presenters. And you'll see that we just have the speaker side by side with the slides. So in Zoom, you pretty much control your own view. Let's see, get in here closer. And in the upper corner, actually, I think this little widget shifts around a little bit, but you should see somewhere on the screen when somebody is screen sharing, you are viewing so-and-so's slides. You should be seeing something like that for me. And under that, there are view options. So you could actually zoom in if you wanted to see something bigger. And you can go into this side-by-side mode. So that is one way that you can kind of simplify your screen and see the speaker clearly while they're sharing slides. Unfortunately, the speaker doesn't have control over that. They can suggest that maybe you want to go into that mode, but you as the person in the audience really gets to control what you see and how you want to see it. That's your Zoom tip for today, Madam President.
Thank you so much, David.
Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Did that clear it up for you? Where's Mark? I don't see Mark. Not Mark Samet. Mark Holmes that asked the question. Oh, there you go. I'm trying to. Morning, Mark. Did that help? I think that was your question last week.
See your lips moving and we're not hearing you. You're unmuted according to Zoom, but maybe you're not plugged in.
Okay, try to get yours, work on your sound there for us, and then come back. Welcome again, and good morning, everyone, on our meeting today. Dr. Andy Burns, I sent you a message in the chat. Just be mindful of that. And as we go ahead, we just wanted to say welcome again to everyone. Welcome back, Todd. Ty, welcome again this morning. I see Mom have you on a schedule now. You're up every morning for Club Awesome, every Friday mornings. Thank you. Welcome again. And Letitia, welcome again. Great having you on our meeting. Without further ado, I will go ahead this morning and introduce, I'm holding you up once more, Dr. Byrne. I just want to remind everyone to please try and print your agenda out. I know because we've been doing Zoom, you may have gotten comfortable and just think everything is going to happen, but there are a lot of valuable, exactly, good Dr. Byrne, valuable information on the agenda for you. This way you're able to know, of course, the roles who are coming up. This way you can introduce each person individually, as well as the word of the day, the theme. These are important information that you need to know as we get through our meeting. So although we are meeting virtually, please try to at least print out the agenda. Some of you may think, oh, well, I'll just pull it up on my screen, but as I'm sure you have already figured out, sometimes it's difficult to navigate between your screen and the Zoom screen. Please be mindful of that. At this time, hope I have nothing else to jump in and interrupt Dr. Byrne with. Let us welcome our Toastmaster of the day, DTM, Dr. Andy Byrne.
Thank you very much, Nardia. I posted in the WhatsApp, the theme of the day is the unexpected, and the word of the day is anomalous, meaning deviating from the general or common order, just in case you didn't spot that in the WhatsApp. It's also on your meeting agenda. All right. At this point in time, I want to remind everybody that the role of Toastmaster today is one of being the master of ceremonies for this meeting. It requires a number of people or helpers. We have about 7 roles altogether, and I want to go through some of those roles and have people introduce themselves. Is Jose here? He is the counter. Jose.
I do not see him. Todd, are you able to jump in and help out as all counter? Oh, you're muted.
Just go like that. If you
okay, I got it. Sorry, of course. I don't want my puppy barking and making noise. Sorry.
All right.
Thank
So
you, Todd.
we have Todd. Tell us what the odd counter does, Todd.
The odd counter is in charge of monitoring odds, ands, double clutch, all of these words that we don't want to have in our speeches when we need filler words to think of what we want to say next. So anytime we hear an duh, or anything that does not belong there, I don't have a dinger. So what do you want me to do?
You could just record it and then report to us at the end. That's fine.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Our next
I'll be right back.
Thanks, Todd. Our next helper is Edgar, who is our timer for this meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Byrne. The role of the timer is to time the table topics and formal speeches, as well as the evaluations. And also alert the speakers of the remaining time on their speech. By using my background screen, I can get to it.
I'm back.
So it'll be green is the minimum, yellow, you're almost done, red, you're out of time, and you have an extra 30 seconds, after which you will no longer be qualified.
Thank you very
And
much,
I
Edgar.
will give a report.
I
Back to
appreciate
you.
that.
Yep.
Our vote counter today is Annie. Can you tell us what the vote counter does?
Yes, as a vote counter, I will collect vote from you after each topic, and I will collect vote and count it and send it to Dr. Byrne. If there's a tie, I will break a tie.
Okay.
That's my job.
Wonderful. The next helper is our body language monitor, Mark Samet. Can you tell us what the body language monitor does?
As body language manager, I will note the use of nonverbal communication, such as gestures and your mannerisms, to emphasize the points in your speech.
Excellent. And for those that have not converted their screens, go to the top right corner of your panel and click on Rename, which will allow you to put in the role that you have, and everybody else can see that role. Next, the grammarian. We have Diane Diamantes, who has signed up for that. Can you hear us?
Yes, good morning, Dr. Byrne, fellow Toastmasters. My role as grammarian is to listen to the speeches, not only the formal speeches, but everything you say today, and listen for cliches, run-on sentences, poor use of grammar, and any kind of speech technique that could be improved. I'll try to suggest some new options at the end of the meeting when I give a report. I'm also responsible for the Word of the Day contest. As Dr. Burns said, the word of the day is anomalous. It's an adjective, and it means deviating from the general or common order. We need 2 Toastmasters to make a sentence with that word, and our first Toastmaster will be B. Welcome, B.
Wow. Good morning, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmaster. Anomalous. Well, last winter was very frigid in New York City, and something anomalous I have seen there. I saw the lawyers putting hands in their own pockets. Thank you.
Thank you, B. Our next Toastmaster, Tamara, would you use the word anomalous in a sentence? Good morning.
Unmute yourself.
Got it. Thank you. Anomalous. Although our communities and world are anomalous, I'm optimistic that strides are being made for the greater good.
Thank you, Tamara. Both words were used correctly. It's time to cast your vote for who you think used the word of the day the best by sending a private chat to our vote counter, Annie. Back to you, Toastmaster Andy Byrne.
Okay, great. The next role that we have is the chat monitor, and that role is taken over by Deborah Pinnock. Can you tell us about the chat monitor?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters. That's right, I am taking over the chat monitor role. The purpose for that role is basically to facilitate the back channel communications of our meeting using the chat feature. I'll do my best to try to be on first when questions are asked in the chat and relay any important information to the Toastmaster of the Day. It is a pleasure. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much. I've been told that we are going to have our speeches prior to our table topics. I wanted you to know that I got your message, Nardia. And our first speaker listed for today is David Carr. And we will do that after we do the humorist. Our humorist is Mark Combs. You are up first.
Hey, is my microphone working?
It is.
Great. So I want to share something unexpected for you, to you. So today's today's humorous story is why cats are smarter than dogs. I'm a cat owner and have been much of my life. I often have debates with my so-called dog friends. They always say the dog is the smartest animal around and is definitely smarter than any old cat. I disagree. I believe cats are smarter than dogs in every way. When I tell dog owners this, they think I'm crazy and ask me questions like, can a cat fetch a stick? Does a cat come when called their name? Does a cat sit on command? Of course, I say no, a cat doesn't do any of that. They ask me, so how can you say that a cat is smarter than a dog? I'll tell you, a cat always has food available. A dog has to wait and beg for food. A cat is self-cleaning. A dog has to be bathed. A cat stays out as long as it wants and goes where it wants. A dog has to beg and beg to get out. A cat can survive on its own. A dog would die in a day if left unattended. When you ask a dog something, the dog tilts its head in confusion. A cat, however, will ignore you and take a nap. A dog can't be trusted out by themselves. They need a leash. Have you ever seen a cat on a leash? That's right. I declare cats are smarter than dogs because cats do what they want and dogs do what they're told. Ultimately, dogs believe they are human. Cats, on the other hand, believe they are God. Thank you. Back to you, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Mark. We appreciated that very much. Right now we have one speaker identified, David Carr. If anybody has a pocket speech and would like to speak in the second slot for speakers, we have a volunteer.
Can a guest take that chance?
Dr. Byrne, today I would like to use that time for the table topics.
For the second extra table topics?
For extra time, I would like to use it on table topics, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
We can do that. You are the president, at least for another 25 days. So, at this time, David, I don't have your introduction in front of me, but everybody knows David and knows that he needs no introduction. He is currently the district webmaster. He is the designer of WordPress for Toastmasters. He has been a president of this club, president and founder of Online Presenters, an author, an innovator, a thinker. I want you to all give a warm welcome to David Carr doing his presentation today.
All right, thank you, Andy. And timer, I'm asking for 8 to 10 minutes. Since we don't have another speaker.
Yes, I'm putting 8 to 10. So 8 green, 9 yellow, 10 red.
That would be wonderful. One of my goals in Toastmasters, and one that I think is elusive to me, is to be able to talk about technology and make it simpler. Explain it as simply and clearly as possible, rather than taking time to make it more complicated than it needs to be, which is probably what I usually do. So, our counter, call that out. That was a clear so. That was an unnecessary so. So I guess that's one of my other goals for today, is to see if I can speak clearly and simply without a lot of that, even while doing a little bit of demo. Now, we were trying to talk Diane into speaking, even though she said she wasn't prepared for today. She has a slide deck. She hasn't practiced her speech. I'm in worse shape. I'm just going by something that I have demoed dozens of times, and I'm trying to do it more simply and clearly today. So what I'm going to be showing is how to make changes to the agenda, to the structure of the agenda. And this is something that some of the officers will need to know for the coming year. I don't think I ever got Nardia clear on it, because when she wanted to rearrange the order of the agenda, do something like we're doing today, where we're doing the speaker first and we're doing table topics after, she would sometimes take the agenda and she'd put it in Microsoft Word and she'd move things around. This is back when we were meeting in person. And that is sort of something that is actually built into the software a little bit as a way of making an exit from the online mechanics. Is one of the things you can do is you can export this agenda to Word, and then you can clean it up, make it pretty, print it on special paper, rearrange it that way. But the way that you would change your agenda, particularly if you're going to change your agenda on a standard basis, you're going to change the way we do things every week, is you would want to go in and edit the actual document. Or actually what you might want to do is go in and edit the template. So we have a template that's sort of like the, the gold standard of how a Club Awesome meeting is supposed to run. And if we look at that in the editor, we're going to see is there are some sections that are just plain old paragraphs, like this thing saying that meetings will be conducted completely online from now on. And then there are these widgets representing special notes on the agenda, particularly things that have time associated with them, like the president leads the self-introductions. And actually, that's not the way we're doing it currently. So that probably should be changed. And then there are these role widgets. And I could back up just a minute to show you what it would look like if we were editing more of a regular page in the WordPress editor. So this is a whole system that is based on WordPress. WordPress is software that was invented by bloggers for bloggers, and that is software for editing web content, creating web content of lots of different sorts. And it is good as a promotional vehicle for the Toastmasters Club because there are so many possibilities built within it. But one of the basic concepts in the current version of the WordPress editor is that every paragraph, every image is represented as what they call a block of content, and different kinds of blocks. So a regular paragraph block has some controls over the sides where I could change the font size to be very large if I wanted to. And if I went to a bullet list, I actually have a different list of options that shows. And I have different controls over here, for example, to change this from a bullet list to a numbered list. So whatever context you're in, there can be different kinds of controls. This is a concept that I'm taking advantage of in the agenda editing mode. So I have different types of content or different WordPress blocks defined for agenda role and agenda note. So the roles are the things that we want people to be able to sign up for. So this is a representation in the editor of the roles that take place every week. And before I start making changes to this, I'm actually going to switch over to a demo site so that I'm not messing up Club Awesome for all time. But we'll see this on my demo site. I have the same sort of thing. And when we go to a speaker role, we see one of the options we have over here in the sidebar. Let me make this a little bit larger. In the sidebar, one of the basic options is the count. So that's the number of speakers we would have for that meeting. So it was set up here for 4 speakers, and change it to 3. And you can also have the time allowed. And this is sort of a multiplication problem. You figure you're going to have 3 speakers. They're going to speak for 5 to 7 minutes. Well, you better allow 21 minutes on the agenda, and maybe you want to allow a little bit of extra. And then we can have a little note that goes along with it. Not so much for speaker, but for table topics, something like leads. Okay, can't type here, maybe because I'm screen sharing, but I would put in a note that says something like leads the impromptu speaking exercise. Now, one of the basic things you might want to do is rearrange your agenda. So let's talk about the example that we're having today. We want to have table topics after the speakers rather than before. So there are these little arrows here that allow me to move things up and move them down. I can move this all the way to the end because we're just having table topics be whatever time's left over after the speeches and evaluations. You know, clubs structure their meetings all sorts of different ways, and you might want to change your meeting on an ongoing basis for a particular club. So I can update this, go out and view it. And we should see 3 speaker slots plus a backup speaker. And that was actually just a little checkbox to say, do we want to have a backup speaker or a backup for this role or not? And then topics is at the end. Grover Cleveland is leading our topics. These are all dead presidents and Doctor Who characters mostly, who are members of the demo club. Now that there actually I was editing the individual meeting, but I use this widget up top to navigate over to the template for this meeting. So the template is a little bit different. Instead of having a specific date associated with it, this is saying that we meet every Monday at 7 p.m. The demo club does. And if we wanted to change that schedule, we could do that. We could say that we're going to do a Saturday session in addition to Monday from now on. We can decide that we want to permanently move the table topics to the end. And when we update this, we'll see a prompt here that says, do I want to create a new event based on this template, or do I want to create and update a whole series of events, which is what we're going to do. So I can update the ones that are already in the system. I just added the Saturday dates. And I'll pay attention to the timer in just a moment. All right. So we see that we've updated a whole series of events, and we've also created a whole series of events. That is how you change the agenda. Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Wonderful, David. Just one quick question. A perfect example of changing templates on a recurrent basis would be when we do contests and we change the entire meeting structure to go to contests. When you create new templates, you label the name of the template so that it's easier to get back to them if you're doing a contest, for example?
Yeah, so we do have a separate contest template that was set up in advance so that, yeah, you wouldn't have to do that from scratch. And you can change the template for a meeting. I didn't show that. Don't have time to show that today, but I can certainly, go over it with the team or be available to help when that's necessary.
David, I have a question. My fear is always that I'm going to mess something up if I go back there and try to rearrange things and move things. Is there a way for me to see what I did and know that I didn't mess everything up before I kind of make it official? Is my concern.
Let's see. Actually, in that editor, there is
Preview, right?
button. Yeah. So it's the same thing if you're creating a blog post and you wanted to do it. The other thing is you can also just create a test event and play around with it, so that or pick a date in December or something. We already have it on the schedule. You play around with that one, and if you mess it up, then we just delete it.
Okay.
that might be a way of getting practice and getting confidence with it. But there's really nothing you can break that we can't recover from.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Nardia, we decided that we're only having the one speaker. Unmute, please.
Nardia.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Dr. Byrne. What we can do, Bruce Goldfarb, I think you're the general evaluator. You can have the evaluation done and then have me as the table topics master and then go back to your final evaluation at the end.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
All right. Today, I am the general evaluator. The duties of the general evaluator are to introduce the evaluators for the formal speeches and to give ask a few people to give a few reports at the end of the evaluation process. Our first evaluator will be none other than our contest guy, contest winner, Tyler Storr, to the division level, which I've never gotten, and I have got to commend him for making it to that level. I have a big round of applause for Tyler.
Or is it Mike Caserta? Which one? Because there was two evaluators on the agenda. Is it Tyler or Mike? Did you both take notes?
Oh, yeah, we got Mike and Tyler.
Did you both take notes, Mike Caserta and Tyler?
I did.
Tyler? I can't hear you, Tyler.
I did not take notes.
There. I was watching your facial expressions, Tyler. He's like, oh.
Yes.
All right, there you go, Mike Caserta.
Okay, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, here, Tyler, you can have my notes. Not that they'll do you any good. Thank you, Mr. Evaluator.
Sorry, timer requirements, not that you don't know, but it's 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes green, 2:30 yellow, 3 minutes red. Back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, Mr. Timer. I did take notes, and it was a very interesting speech that David just gave us. I found, usually the first thing you look for are the ahs, ers, and you knows. And I don't know whether I'm a little bit sleepy or what, but I didn't really hear very many. And I think it doesn't really matter whether there were any or not, because the key with those is to make them transparent, make them not be a distraction, which you did that. You totally accomplished that. And I think that's something to be said. I think part of the cause of it might have been your pacing. The way you went through the speech, you went through it very simply. You made it sound like you were going to kind of dummy it down for us and talking about technology in a non-technological fashion. And that really works well for me. I mean, I think I know a fair amount about technology, but when I get into something a little bit past what my I guess, my box, it gets very hairy. And you made it sound very simple, which I'm sure it's not as simple as you made it sound, but it made me feel confident that I can try and maybe do some of those things. So I thought that was terrific. I thought the way you moved around the website showed either a lot of courage or a lot of technical sophistication, which I think you have both of. You moved through almost perfectly. I mean, I probably would have done a screen movie or something so that I would be able to get through all the steps in exactly the right manner, in the way that I wanted to. But it appeared that you were able to just go through the website and pick things up easily without having to have it very well scripted, because it looked like you were doing some of this kind of off the top of your head, which again shows your great knowledge of the subject. You used your eyes for some surprise and expression, which I thought also was very good. In terms of the things we could work on, it seemed a little bit loose in terms of organization, but I'm not sure that that's a bad thing. And again, when you were looking at the camera, and I have trouble doing this, and hopefully I'm doing it a little bit, is it didn't appear that you were looking at the camera all the time. Sometimes you would be looking at something else when you were speaking. And if you were speaking to a real audience, in person, that would be a distraction. I'm not sure it's such a big deal on I hope it's not, because I have trouble doing it as well. But I think when we can, we should try to look into the camera. I'm trying to do, but I apparently don't feel like I am. But overall, it was a very pleasant and informative, pleasant presentation to hear, and we expect that from you, and you certainly delivered today, Mr. General Evaluator.
All right. Thank you so much for that great evaluation, Michael. Being we only have one speaker, we'll move on to our reports. Our grammarian, Diane Demantis, can you give us a report of how we did today?
Nardia wanted you to hold those reports to the end after she does table topics.
Oh, reports, those reports to the end, okay.
Thank you, Bruce.
Then I'll give a final report for my evaluation. We started at 7 o'clock.
I'm sorry, Bruce. I am definitely having a anomalous meeting today and throwing everything out of the door. So for your final report, Bruce, we will do it after the table topics. This way, the grammarians and all count, everyone can hear what everyone say when they present the table topics, and then you'll give your final report. What I will do is after the table topics speakers, I will turn it back over to Dr. Byrne, who will recall you back to the podium to give your final report and get your reports from the members.
We need to get David to change the agenda so we can do that.
No, it was my fault because I didn't come on early enough to inform the Toastmaster of the day as well as David as to how we're going to move things around or communicate with you, the general evaluator, how we're switching things around today.
All right, I'll let you introduce the table topics, or you are the table topic.
Okay, and everybody heard what's going on behind the background. Normally we would have this planned out in advance, but it shows the flexibility of this club. At this time, Club Awesome wants to call to the stage our current president and leader of Club Awesome, Nardia Aldridge, who will lead us in table topics and assorted activities.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. Welcome again, everyone, to Club Awesome. Today, our table topics, and we do not have any guests, everyone that's on our Toastmasters, except for Ty Forrest, and he has been in quite a few of our meetings, but just as a reminder, our table topics is to practice our impromptu speaking. A couple weeks ago, I introduced you to the Wheel of Names, and I had the different topics. Today, I'm going to do that same thing, but I've also introduced some images into it. So we'll have words as well as images. If it does come up and you are the one who receive an image, just speak to us about the image. That's all you'll do. The same thing if it's the word, you will just speak to us with the word. Table topics will be my timer. My timer is Edgar. Can you just go ahead and give us the time and requirements for our table topics, Edgar?
Certainly. For topics masters, they are 1 minute green, 1 minute 30 seconds yellow, and 2 minutes red.
Thank you, Edgar. And I am going to share my screen. And we have our wheel. This is our wheel for our table topics.
Nadia, this is Deborah. Once again, the object is that if we get that particular word, we are to do our table topics based on that word.
That is correct. Or the image. It could also be the image.
Okay.
Thank you, Deborah. Right, I am going to spin and then I will call on a participant. Okay, our first table topics participants will be Letitia, our guest. Letitia, are you able to see the image?
Little bit.
Okay.
Could you please zoom out a little?
I don't know that I can zoom it anymore, but it is a picture of a table with party decorations on it.
Just like a decorated table for a party, am I correct?
Yes, or whatever you want it to be. You could just go with it and make it whatever you want it to be, Letitia. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and remove it and you can just, well, I'm going to just leave it there and you can go ahead and speak, but I think, are you able to see the timer? Are you able to see the timer, Letitia?
Timer, yes, of course, right.
Okay.
Thank you, table topic master. Okay, I can see an enchanting picture of a table decorated for a party. Yes, it can be a party for anything, just to wish somebody a happy birthday or anniversary, or more than anything, or graduation party, after the graduation party, or maybe to celebrate the outcome of this pandemic, something like that. Whatever it is, I can see a celebrative mood. This is because the mindset, somebody will decorate this table because of the mind, inner thoughts have come into physical being on the table. So the colors, I can see the pink, blue, a combination of green, those things, the colors tell us that something beautiful and something vibrant in the mind that has come out physically with the colors. So anyway, whoever who is going to take part in this party will be very, very lucky. The reason is they will get impressed by the colors first of all, and there are pink and blue. That means you are able to welcome the females as well as males. The combination is there, gender unbiased, I would say, and the
Okay.
green always goes with the environment. That means environmental friendly. You are not going to pollute the environment. You are going to have it in a very calm and quiet manner. The colors are very soothing. That will get violent. They will be calm and quiet demeanor can be expected. And more than anything, we can see I'll step into this.
Oh, did we lose her?
Over to you, yes, because of the connection problem. Anyway, thank you very much, table topic master. Well done. You can have a birthday party for a baby girl or baby boy.
Thank you, Letitia. Thank you. Great job. All right. Nice. So I remove it and we spin again and get ready for our next speaker. Our next table topic speaker will be Jose Perales. Jose, are you able to see the image?
Yes, yes, I can see the image. Good morning, fellow Toastmaster and guests. Very happy to be here. I'm sorry for my delay. I have an issue, so very happy to be here and see the air. Yes, it's nice motivation to get the air in a picture and just think about we are using a small point in that part of the air. We have a lot of things to do, a lot of things to learn, a lot of things to help the people, a lot of things to talk to everyone in order that everyone understand that everyone is equal. It's only one air for everyone. It's no more. So it's no things that to discuss or to have fights, you know. I think it's more equal. You see, it's a very circumference. So it's a good opportunity to think about that. It's a good inspiration to have the Friday and see a picture that you can see, oh, we have a big circumference, a big horizon to learn and to keep going and to think that everything is going to be good and everything going to happen and the thing is going to be great. It's awesome for our children, for our nephews, or all the family members. Is good motivation to have the air and think about all the possibilities that air gives to us. Nature, air, oxygen, and a good possibility and very love. Thank you very much. Back to you, Topic Master.
Thank you, Jose. Time for a wheel. Equality. Equality. Our next table topic speaker will be B. B, equality. Is B still there?
I think he had to leave.
I don't see him on.
No? Oh, okay. I wrote down his name. All right. Because I'm not able to see everyone on my screen. I just have my names written down.
Okay.
Okay. Guess what? This will be for Tyler Storer. Tyler, equality.
Hello, good morning. Can everyone hear me? Hopefully. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Equality. Man, you got me. What does equality mean to you? What does it mean to me? I think that there are lots of examples of inequality in our world, in our workplaces, even in our own homes at times. Not everything is equal. I have to explain that to my kids sometimes when they want to argue over things being fair, of who did what and who should have to clean what mess, and they seem to want everything to be equal, and I have to unfortunately tell them that dealing with things not being fair or equal all the time is something that they have to learn and deal with. And it doesn't mean always that it's fair, but that they have to do their best to work within what they're given. And I think when it comes to inequality or equality, that's, we have to just be able to try to do our best with it and try to do what we can. And it's not always an easy thing to do. And that is it. Back to you.
Thank you, Tyler. We're going to keep going. Remember, I have extra time today. We will have more table topics and continue with our wheel. So we had Tyler. I heard a silent sigh of relief on that one. Okay, we will have Mark Holmes, because Mark is going to have to run away from me for a little bit. So our humorist today, Mark Holmes, will go ahead and speak about this picture. Mark Holmes.
All right, thank you very much, Nardia. Well, it looks like it's the beginning of a new day or the sunset of an old day. I'll say it's the beginning of a new day. I personally love watching sunrises. I used to do it all the time when I lived on the beach. And it was very energizing to watch the sunrise and know that things can start all over again for a brand new day. So whatever has happened in the past, the new day can bring you new fortune and new adventures. And in some way, I would maybe like to speak to Nardia about the protests that are happening. I know that seems to be something that's weighing heavily on her mind. And so maybe we can see these protests as the beginning of a new day and moving America forward and stronger and better and more equal as we move forward. And hopefully something wonderful and unexpected could come out of it with this new day. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mark Holmes. And let us spin away. All right. Justice. Today we get Ty Forrest to tell us what does justice mean to him. Ty Forrest, justice.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Justice. I feel like it's so prevalent today in society. You see everywhere now. Not everybody, I think, gets the justice that they deserve. And with these protests and rioting and that's going on all over the US, I think that, as Toastmaster Mark Holmes said, something good will hopefully come out of this. As I know past police brutality deaths, we tried other tactics and those never worked either. So I feel like most people have just run out of ideas as to what to do and to gain justice. And for me, it's sad to see, especially being a young Black male, growing up in a society that we live in. And I just hope that times change very soon and we get the leader that we deserve.
Thank you, Ty. Great job and excellent job for your first table topics, and you made it to the green. Great job.
Thank you.
All right. And we keep going. Right, and I'm not racist. Now, since we had Ty, of course we have to have Mom. So we will have Tamara Smart. I'm not racist, Tamara Smart.
I'm not racist. There are so many things that comes to mind when I hear, I read, I ponder on the statement, I'm not racist. What does that really mean? It means to me that one is not biased to one race over the other. It means to me that one does not consider a particular race superior over the other. It means to me that fairness will be there for all. We will all be on a level playing field. It means to me that we're all afforded the same opportunities, whether good or bad. The advantages and the disadvantages should certainly be the same. Actions speak louder than words. If I say I'm not a racist, how does that measure up if my actions doesn't equate to what it is that I'm saying? At the end of the day, I think if one is to say, I'm not racist, they ought to just walk the talk instead of simply talking the talk. There's so many things that comes into I'm not racist. Quiet your mind, quiet yourself, and ask yourself what it means to you, and then evaluate if your actions speaks to that. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Tamara. Great job. All right. So my time check, I still have time. We will continue with our wheel. I thought I removed that, sorry. I have to spin again, I thought I removed it. Injustice. Injustice. For this word, we will have our all counter, Todd Lesk. Todd, injustice. You're muted, Todd. Oh, wait, Todd, we can't hear you. Well, let's see if we can. You're muted.
There we go. Okay, sorry. All right, everyone's out and they're sleeping, so I got the dog who needs to go out for a walk. I'm holding her. But injustice, what's going on right now? There is so much injustice in this world. It's really opened my eyes. I gotta mark my It's opened my eyes to how bad the situation currently is. And I've known we've had a problem all my life. I've seen it. But right now, it's really the last 3 or 4 years jumped up to a new level. And there needs to be justice for all, just like the pledge says. And right now, I think we're starting to realize how terrible and horrific this situation is. And hopefully some changes will be made and there will be no injustice for anyone because we are all equal, black, white, Spanish, whatever color you are, we're all equal. We get up every morning, we all eat the same, go to the bathroom, we get dressed, we breathe, we do what we need to do and we do it the same. So don't judge a book by its cover. There's a few bad apples out there with some of these cops. There's a lot of good cops. And I think that the ones who are not good and who are creating this issue, they need to see justice because what's going on is crazy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Todd. It removed this time, and we get to spin away. Equity. Equity. This will go for our vote counter. Annie, can you speak on equity?
Hi, yes, equity. Equity, you know, as we grow older, we probably all accumulated some equity. Some it is visible equity, is something we see as we own from apartment to a house to later on we have a better car. Because during the lifespan that we grow and we probably get richer and we get equity. We always thought that when you're working hard, you should be able to get equity. We should deserve what we work for. But as life goes on, I learned that's not the truth. I see the people who working hard in all their life, and they probably end up doesn't get what they deserve. They get a very little equity. And some people, maybe they are lucky or they inherited a big asset and they could be not working so much and they still have a good life. So I learned actually life is not equal. It's not fair. You cannot ask us, people say, it's not fair. Then yes, it is. Life is not fair. Sometimes we have to work for it. Sometimes we have to fight for it. We fight for the equality. We fight for what we deserve. And what I can teach is what I can teach my kids is you know that you deserve. You know that what you working hard, you should get. You should get what you deserve. So don't hesitate when something that not come to you, and you should speak out, speak for yourself, and fight for it. Back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Annie. Great job. Thank you. And we'll do one. Anyway. Systemic. Deborah Pinnock, systemic. Deborah?
Thank you so much, Madam Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters. Systemic. What an interesting word. And I have to say that it's only been in the last, really most recent years that I have come to get a slightly better understanding. And I would not even state that my understanding of it is complete by any stretch of the imagination. But when I think about the word systemic, I think about one of my all-time favorite movies called The Matrix. Can anybody raise your hand if you have seen The Matrix? Oh my goodness, it is still a movie that I sit and I can watch all, I think there were 3 versions of it or 3 different, yes, it was a trilogy. And I can still to this day watch it and not cringe because you know that there are those movies that you watch and they were really exciting 5 or 10 years ago and you watch them now and you're like, oh my gosh, this is trash. But The Matrix has never been that. And what's so interesting outside of the fact that I like sci-fi movies is you have this world that was created by, well, it was created and it was engineered in a certain way. And the people who are in that world, many of them don't realize that the world that they live in is a facade, in a sense, that it's been specifically engineered by someone or some entity, some group that they don't know. And it's so interesting to see Neo waking up and realizing that everything that I thought was real, everything that I thought is, that it's somewhat engineered. And the word system, this systemic applies to the nation that to the idea that there are things that have been created in our society and engineered in a way that's pro some folks and at a disadvantage for other folks. Interesting word, systemic. Back to you, Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Deborah. Excellent job. We have time for one more. I will do one more and then turn it back over to our Toastmaster of the day. Oh, and this person have it hard. Now you have to put all three of these together. It's equality, equity, and justice. You get the privilege of having all three. Let's see. Mark Samet. Mark, my body language monitor today. You get all three, and unfortunately my image did not show up as big as I would like it to, but it's showing equality, equity, and justice. Below it is just an image as well as definition, but if you could just speak and have a combination of those terms together in your table topics. Mark Samet.
Okay. When I
You're muted, Mark.
All right. How about now?
Yes, better.
Oh, terrific. The words equality, equity, and justice in our country are supposed to apply to everyone here. That means U.S. citizens as well as people that are visiting or living here temporarily in hopes of becoming citizens. The reality is they're not all shared equally. We don't necessarily treat everybody equally. And what occurs to me and what really upsets me and has for the last 5 years when I became aware of the fact is that when someone is incarcerated for a crime and then released having served the time, they're supposed to have voting rights restored. Yet our state legislature acted to prevent that. Doesn't make any sense to me, other than the fact that the majority party in the state legislature, which happens to be Republican as opposed to Democrat, is of the opinion, I believe, that people who get out of jail are going to vote for Democratic candidates. To me, that doesn't compute. Unless they think it's because minorities would prefer Democrats. What the hell? They can vote for whoever they want, but they're not being allowed to vote. I haven't heard anyone in our state legislature, particularly reps from South Florida, make a big deal about it. They threatened to, but they haven't followed through. So I conclude that when we say with liberty and justice for all in the Pledge of Allegiance, we're not really appreciating what that means. I don't know if that's because they don't teach civics like they used to in the public schools, or I'm in the minority because I give a crap. Madam Toastmaster, Madam Topic Master.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you all for playing Wheel of Names with me today. It was very interesting, inspirational. Thank you all for our speakers. Mr. Timer, did everyone meet the requirements for our table topics time today?
Yes, Madam President, all the timers spoke within the time requirement.
Thank you very much. At this time, we do have a long list, so I feel your pain in how you're going to select your most improved table topic speaker, but I will go over the names today. Let me go ahead and close this out for you and stop our screen share. There we go. We have our guests, Letitia, Jose, Tyler, Mark Holmes, Ty Forrest, Tamara Smart, Tad Lesk, Annie, Deborah, and Mark Samet. Go ahead and send your vote to Annie in the chat box, private message her your votes as to the most improved table topic speaker. It is now time for me to return the lectern to our Toastmaster of the day, Dr. Andy Byrne.
Thank you very much, Topic Master of the Day, Nardia. At this time, we're heading towards the end part of our meeting, and by basis of raising your hand for thumbs up or down, we're going to hear Bruce do his final report component and the reports, and then we'll determine whether we're close enough to the end to just go to the end or whether we want a break. Bruce, you have the floor.
Okay. My evaluation of our meeting today, we started right on time, it's 11 o'clock. I like that. We seem to do better in this type of environment than when we get together. David had a great speech. It was very informative, and we learned how to change our setup. So like today, when things change, we know how to do it in the future. I'd like to see self-intros being brought back into our agenda. I think it's important that everybody gets up and says something that, and today we certainly had plenty of time to insert that in there. So, and instead of at the end, get it in there at the beginning like we used to have it. The table topics were very innovative action there by Nardia, that Wheel of Fortune. Round and round she goes, where she stops, nobody knows. Boy, I know I was holding my heart. I hope they don't call me for that question. But they were great, and the answers were so honest and fulfilling that it was very worthwhile. I thought it was going to be a bust, but it was really great. And the evaluations, the speeches, everything was good. Our demeanor of our meeting is always well received, and I'll turn the lectern back over to our Toastmaster of the Day.
Did you want to call on reports, Bruce?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. We got a couple reports. Let's start with our grammarian, Diane Diamandis.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I think we did a great job today. I don't have a lot to report other than some interesting wording. Annie says regarding equity, sometimes we have to work for it, sometimes we have to fight for it. I like that. And I like the repetition when we say something. Sometimes we have to, because it makes your speech more powerful. Andy Burns said, David needs no introduction. I enjoyed that. Mark Samet, I'm in the minority because I give a crap. Very poignant. Deborah said back channel communications when she was talking about the chat monitor. I like that term. She also used the word facade, which I always enjoy. Nardia used the word of the day in her introduction to table topics. She used anomalous, so you had to look at the agenda to see what it was. Mark Combs said cats believe they are God. I enjoyed that, his humorous moment. Todd says there needs to be justice for all. He also used a few phrases that we're familiar with, bad apples and reading a book by its cover. Tamara in her table topic says, walk the talk the talk. Enjoyed that. Mike Caserta in his evaluation was talking about David and explaining technology, and he said very hairy, took something very hairy and made it very simple, which I enjoyed. And then later he said something was very pleasant. I just want to point out that someone told me once, if you use the word very too much, you really should be using a stronger word rather than very this, very that. Let's use a different word to make it even stronger. So that's my point for today. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Diane. Very good report. Now we got the body language monitor, and Mike Samet's going to tell us how we all did there.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. All right. You're muted, press button.
Mark, you're muted. There you go.
All right. As body language monitor, I know that most everyone now looks directly at us as opposed to looking in their camera, and that's good. We always use our hands, and David, you use your right hand for expression, and your left hand to scratch your head. Just noted. Smile of the day was Tyler. He had a great grin when asked if he had taken notes so that he could respond. Other than that, I'm either a really poor body language monitor, at least when we're online like this, because I don't have any thoughts, and it is difficult to like stand up, although Mark did it a couple of weeks ago because he moved his laptop about 3 feet higher than he was, and we could see it top to bottom. And that's my report.
Okay, do we have a winner for the body language?
For body language, I think it's a tie between everybody that spoke.
All right.
That's safe.
Let's hear it for everybody. Okay, that concludes my
I'll count
duties.
later.
Back to you, Dandy.
We have the counter report.
Thank you, Doc. We were doing very well until table topics hit. The first person to speak in their speech, David, thank you for pointing out the use of so. We got that down. In the evaluations, Mike Caserta, you did a double clutch with, you know. Letitia, you had one or Tyler, you had 5 or 6 ums during your table topics. Mark Holmes, you had the word and 2 or 3 times. Ty, the word twice. Tamara, the word Todd, I used 4 times. And Annie, I caught a so and an but everyone was pretty much, was pretty good. I thought we did very well today.
Thank you very much, Todd. In some clubs, when you don't have multiple speakers and multiple evaluators, they don't actually do voting. But for today, we had a word of the day winner is Tamara. And our table topic winner is also Tamara. So you have 2 awards.
Tamara.
Dr. Byrne, actually, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. And at my count, again, it should be the table topic winner is Mark Cement.
Okay.
Yay, Mark.
Said to me. All righty.
I'll be happy to defer.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Our speaker is David. There is no opposition speech, so David is the best speaker for today.
Hey, Dave.
And our best evaluator was our only evaluator. It's Mike Asserter. Congratulations for the job well done.
Hey, Mike.
At this time, we have enough time to do a couple of things. Are there any announcements? Yes, Diane.
Hello, fellow Club Awesome members. I would like to let you know that it is dues time for those who have paid through June. We pay every quarter, and the next quarter is July, August, and September. I will be contacting a few of you through email to let you know that your $36 for Club Awesome dues is due. Back to you, Andy.
Thank you very much. Also wanted to let you know that for those that had not signed up on the district website for your 4-day pass for the Weekend of Empowerment, 12 lectures and keynote speakers, that is now gone at this moment. We have 500 people that are registered and there are no more open spots. However, there is still an opening for the club officer training. If you are going to be an officer in this coming year, or think that you would like to help one of the officers in this coming year, it is still an opportunity to sign up for the COT or club officer training. Please go to the district website to get the appropriate link, and please do that today. You don't want to be closed out of that. We want to see, particularly because it is so easy to have 7 out of 7 officers and more trained in the different roles, allowing us to hit the ground running for next year. Are there any other announcements? There's also a State of the Union address that you'll be getting an email about from District Director Leo Burrows. And are there any other announcements in the 5 minutes that we have left?
I'll take it from here, Dr. Burns. I just want to say thank you for being our Toastmaster of the day. Thank you for stepping up to the plate. We appreciate it. And in terms of any other announcement, one is definitely to acknowledge Tyler Storer, who in our contest. Yes, he didn't win our place, but in our heart, he's definitely a winner, and the speech was phenomenal. And of course, you know, I know David posted it, and I know Tyler has been asking for feedback, and should he take this on the road, things like that. Please definitely give him your honest feedback. But thank you for representing us, Tyler. We appreciate it, and I am definitely proud to have you as a member in Club Awesome as our contestant. So thank you. David, how do we look for next week? You're muted.
Yes, of course I'm muted. Well, this, of course, was not a great example of us coming in here with things planned out. So I have a suspicion that there are a lot of openings for next week. I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, things are, whoa. Nobody signed up for anything.
Oh, no.
Okay, we got to get some of this stuff nailed down right now.
Okay, and while you're pulling up that, David, Deborah, if you could go ahead and give us the chat monitors report, please.
Sure thing. There wasn't necessarily a whole lot going on as far as our chat was concerned in terms of to everyone. However, a couple of things. We got kudos for Ty, who participated in his first table topics event, and so kudos to Ty for that. Jose gave him kudos in the chat. In addition to that, David definitely considers Club Awesome to be a real audience, and so we always appreciate that. In addition to that, let's see what else happened. As always, we do want to thank Letitia for jumping on, and today the norm is that our guests don't necessarily get the opportunity to have a speaking slot, but we're really excited that today Letitia was able to participate in our table topics. And it's always great to get perspective, not only from our guests, but all the way from Sri Lanka. So we totally appreciate that. And that is about it. We really appreciated seeing Todd Lesk's dog, and Jose was really excited about that and said so in the chat. So thank you for, we're always happy to have visits from our furry friends. It's right back to you, Nardia.
Thank you, Deborah. Okay, go ahead, David.
Let's take a look at this here. Who can we get as our Toastmaster of the Day for next week?
I'll do it.
Thank you, Mr. Goldfarb. And I apologize, Tamara.
I was gonna say, has Tamara been Toastmaster of the Day yet? Tamara, Bruce, do you mind switching out with Tamara and giving her that role?
Give it to Tamara.
All right. Well, can you be I'll make you body language monitor. I was going to apologize to Tamara because she had signed up for something, and I'm saying nobody had signed up for anything. But we're going to put Bruce at body language monitor. We'll put Tamara as Toastmaster of the Day.
Yay!
I don't know if she said yes.
She didn't, but it seems like she doesn't have a choice.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. So, you know, I mean, everything is open. Please, please don't be shy. What would you like? Who wants to speak?
I'll do general evaluator.
I'll be happy to speak, Bruce. David.
I signed up for a speak too.
Okay. Deborah is general evaluator. We have
Dr. Byrne and Jose.
Byrne and Jose. I'm sorry to make you watch me type or pick from lists.
And if you want to put B as humorist, I know he volunteered this week, but he didn't get on it, so you could put him, and then I guess if he can't fulfill that role, he could let us know.
All right, well, we will pencil him in.
Right.
All right. Well, let's get ourselves a couple of evaluators. I'll be one.
Actually, David, can I be topics master instead of general evaluator?
You can be whatever you want.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Todd, do you want to jump in for a role and commit this way? I could guarantee you being back next week. You're muted. We can't hear you, Todd.
Go on.
Sorry, I'll be back next week. What do we have open right now?
Well, why don't we make you an evaluator?
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to navigate through my easy to use system. All right. Well, maybe that's, get somebody for general evaluator.
I'll be general evaluator for now.
All right.
Just make sure we have someone plugged in, and then I'll see if anyone else is interested.
All right. So that's sort of a minimal set. I don't want to keep you guys on the line all the time, but please visit the website. Sign up a couple of weeks in advance. Help us out here. That's what these tools are made for. So I appreciate it if you use them. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you again. Thanks everyone for attending our meeting. Make note, I believe so far this was our smallest meeting since we've been on Zoom. Be mindful of that. Notice who was here versus who wasn't here. Try to reach out if you can, just to say, hi, we missed you. If you do notice that you have some of our Black members who are not present, consider that. I for sure did not want to come and screen today. I did not want to have to show a happy face or be, you know, enthusiastic or any of those things that's required of me as your leader, but I know I have to show up, I have to be here, I am committed. But the last thing any of us want to do right now is to be on a video chat, show our face, everything. My eyes, I've had to spray my forgot what it's called, the vising stuff to get the redness out of your eyes. This way I don't come on here, put ice back on my eyes. This way I'm not coming on screen looking all puffy and messed up. So just be mindful of that. And sometimes I know like Todd did, he gave me a call and left me a text, hi Nardi, I'm thinking about you. You know, those little things do help. Someone, so just be mindful of that and reach out to your fellow colleagues, whether it's in Club Awesome, outside of Club Awesome. I know my students have been emailing me left and right because no one from leadership in terms of our program chairs, our director, have reached out to them to say, how are you doing? Yet they're still expected to perform in class. Think about how stressful and how difficult it is for any of those students to focus and concentrate and then be able to take an exam this week. And that's just unrealistic and insensitive. So it's just those little things that, you know, those little actions that we don't take or that we do take that make a difference in people's lives. Consider that as you go about the rest of your week. Have a great one, and I will see you all next week. Take care.
Next week.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Everyone.
Happy weekend. Bye.
All right. Take care. Thanks again, Letitia. Take care.